What's up, you guys? It's Chrissy, and I'm here with
Nahchon the developer.
Thank you for coming today,
Thanks for having
Nation.
me.
All right, so let's get right into it. Okay, we hear so much about burnout, loneliness, and people feeling stuck right now in the
hmm
world. Why do you think mental health feels like such a crisis these days?
I'm going to say, first of all and foremost, that mental health is a crisis because so many people are disconnected from themselves. They haven't taken that time to kind of sit with themselves, to get to know themselves. They haven't been meditating. They haven't been praying. They've just been going. So that hustle culture got people just burnt out.
Oof. Yeah. Can we talk about hustle culture real quick? 'Cause
Yeah,
a lot of people are burnt out. I think we were like boss mom, boss girl
right.
mode, and we kind of transitioned to like, okay, what was that? You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Everybody wanted to be out there to say, okay, look at me, look at me, look at me. But the reality is nothing gets built by me. Everything gets built by we. And so if I'm
Mm,
doing everything, I'm burning out. If I'm working with a team, I work with other people, now we can work together to build
right.
something. But when you got this boss mode, boss man, look at me, self-made, no, you're burning out. So your mental health is actually going to suffer because the more you think about yourself, the least you're thinking about taking care of yourself. So your
Mm,
selfishness and your, a better way to put it, your internal clock of working to figure out how other people can look at you
yeah.
is going to burn you up. Your mind is just being
Mm,
just like, okay, I got to figure out another way for people to see me, another way for people to say that I'm doing well. I got to look. So that Instagram, Facebook life is killing folks.
it is the aesthetic, the
Yes,
what is versus what it looks like.
right.
I feel like is major. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people are doing it for what it looks
What
like
it
and
looks
what
like.
are they being perceived
Right.
as opposed to what is it really like
What's the
innately. You know
truth?
what I mean?
So we
So
talk about tell your truth, but here's the deal. On Instagram, on Facebook, I got 25 takes before I get a take.
yeah,
In life, you only get one take.
yeah.
You got one take. So why not
Mm,
show up right? Show up whole, show up with that understanding that I got one take. Let me get it right. So you see me fall down. I fell. Admit it. Let's talk about it. Let's move forward. But don't just keep trying to think you can go through life with 50 takes. You don't get 50 takes. You get one.
right. Absolutely. That was good stuff. Okay. Do you think our culture undervalues the role of personal development in mental health, and why?
I think, yes, I'm going to say I definitely undervalues it because here's what we think about it for people. We think about people as commodities and not as humans. We always want to trade them. We always want to, level up. We always want to do different things. But people, we want to use them. We don't want to utilize them. The difference between utilization is I'm taking your skills and your abilities and I'm connecting them to my skills and abilities. So together we can do something of magnitude. But if I'm using you, like, okay, what can you do for me? So our culture is all about what can you do for me right now? It's all about look at me, look at me, look at me. It's not about what I can do for you, what can I do for the
Right.
community. It's like what can I do for myself to get, and I'm gonna use you to get there. So yeah, it has nothing to do with us helping each other. So all of that stress of just thinking about is
Mm,
just burning us up. So mental health is becoming one of those things where personal development, because if I fail on stage, everybody's looking at me and then they're gonna laugh at me. Then I'm gonna feel bad. So now my ego steps in. So now my ego stands for edging greatness out or edging God out. So my ego steps
mm,
in. Now I can't even take the lesson. I take the L because the lesson is for me to look at what did I do? What happened? Can I learn from it? No, I gotta go back out there and make people think I'm great. Come on, I'm not real. I'm
right.
inauthentic.
That's so true. And I'll say with that, like I call it the reciprocity continuum.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed like when I'm around people that are me,
Right.
I get depleted and burn out so
Yes, you
quickly
do.
as opposed to when I'm around people that it's an equal give and take.
Yes.
I call it like it's that reciprocity continuum.
Mm-hmm.
The energy keeps regenerating
It keeps
itself
regenerating. Right.
because I poured into you
You pour
and
it
you
back
poured
in,
into me
it
and
just
it
keeps
just
going,
keeps
and it
going
just
as opposed
multiplies.
to exactly
Versus me taking
depleting.
taking from you, saying, okay, what can I use you for? You like, what can I use you for? And now we just pouring out,
Right.
but nobody's pouring back in.
Yep.
And that's why mental health comes in as a problem because what people don't understand what mental health is, it's the way you think and move on a daily basis and the things you tell yourself when no one's looking. That's all a part of
Wow.
your mental health. So I'm out there on stage and I'm doing these things, and then that imposter syndrome steps in. I'm
Mm.
faking this, but I got to tell myself every time I step out there that I'm not. So I could be believable to the crowd when in reality I'm faking it. So now my mind is like, we got to be real, people. And your brain just starts to drain, and then before you know it, breakdown, fatigue, wipeout,
Yeah.
burnout,
Yeah.
suicidal. All these things happen because you're
Mm.
faking.
Yeah.
You're not designed to fake. You're designed to be true. whatever that truth is, as far as did you make it? No. Did you fail? Yes. Learn and grow.
Right. Authenticity
That's
is
authenticity is
very
it.
important for sure. So what's one character trait you think more people need to strengthen in order to better handle life's challenges?
I'm going to say, first and foremost, you need to get a relationship with God.
That
Period.
part. That,
Period. You got to get a relationship with God.
yeah.
Because if you don't have a relationship with God, I don't care what character trait you happen, what you build, it's not going to get you there. Because God is the source of all life. So if you don't have that relationship, you can't go deep there. Yeah, I can give you a cliche. I can say this. One characteristic you need to be is, can you sit with yourself for 30 minutes in silence? The average person can sit with themselves for 2 minutes in silence without them judging themselves, without them trying to find something to fill that silence.
Wow.
Can you sit with you for 30 minutes? Because when you sit with you for 30 minutes, guess who shows up? God. He got something to tell you. So do you want to find out about yourself? Sit with yourself for 30 minutes.
Okay, we gotta dive deeper in that because I'm all about like solo traveling, doing a lot of like introspection and
Right.
meditation and spending a lot of time by myself. And I say this like when people jump into these relationships that and they've never spent a significant amount of
Right.
time by themselves,
They
does
bring
it
in,
usually work out? You
no,
don't know yourself.
you don't so easily. Exactly.
I'm big on spending time with yourself to really know and listen and get in those quiet places.
Right.
There's a scripture that talks about being in a quiet place by
Right.
yourself for a significant amount of time. You know what I mean?
So this is one scripture that talks about God is in the stillness. He's in
Mm-hmm.
the stillness. But what does that mean? People say, okay, well, I sat still for 30 seconds and I prayed and asked God for this, this, and this. But did you sit there for another 30 seconds to listen to what he had to say?
Right.
Most of us want to go there. We want to ask our petition. Hey, God, give me this, blah, blah, bless, bless, bless. But God says, wait a minute, there's a lesson here. Do you sit there for the lesson? Are you quiet enough to hear the response? Or you just put in your request? It's like your kid comes in, hey, mom, I want this. But do they sit there to see what this is going to be? What's required to get this? Typically, no. They just ask for it and they leave.
Right.
And that's what we do with God. So we don't have that opportunity to be in that still, small place where we can hear and then respond. So what suffers? Ourselves, our mental health. Because we're always trying to figure out what God says, cast your cares upon me because I care for you. So if I'm going to cast my cares, that means I'm going to sit there and say, Dad, what is it that I need to be doing to get to the next level? Instead of me listening to all these gurus on TV, following the latest trends, boss mom, boss dad, all these different things. And God's like, I didn't call you to be a hustler. I called you to be a multiplier. I called you to have dominion. So how can you have dominion if you're hustling? You can't.
Cannot.
You cannot.
Wow. That's major.
Okay.
Can you tell us about your work and like what you do? Who do you focus on when helping people develop character?
So my focus is on mindset, life, and business. When I think about the mindset aspect of it, it's the thoughts that you take on a daily basis. So one of the things I've been doing personally is I've been taking anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes every morning. So I read Proverbs. I read a proverb a day. So that's one of the things I've been doing because I'm focusing on helping people to understand who you are to you, who you are with you. Because if I want you to develop a good personality quotes, a good personality, I have to have a true statement or a true barometer of who you are. And that requires you to sit with and ask those hard questions of yourself. Like, did I really do my best on that? Did I really show up for that individual? Did I really, or did I just say something to appease them so that it looked like I was doing a good thing? So the work that I do is I get all in your business. Okay. I get in that personal space and ask you those questions that honestly you're afraid to ask yourself. And then I won't let you go until you actually answer them. So one of the questions I ask you is, when's the last time you sat with yourself and spoke to yourself honestly? Not critically, but honestly. We all often criticize ourselves. We're so like, hey, you suck at this, you suck at that. That's not honesty. That's critiquing, and that's critical. That's criticism.
Yeah.
That doesn't build you. An honest conversation is ask yourself a question and then write the answer that comes. So I help you to go through that process. I have this 90-day transformation journal that I have people go through, and there's prompts in it. So it's asking you a question every day to get you to thinking about what's the best thing that I've done this week to help myself and someone else. Most people say they get stumped on that one question.
Yeah.
Because when I help my kids, is that someone else or is that still you? Let's get beyond that.
Yeah.
So my work is designed about developing the mindset so that you're in a space and a place where you can be comfortable with yourself. Because if you show up whole and you walk into a space, it doesn't matter who's in the space because you're whole. But if you show up damaged, you show up hurting, if you walk into space and people are prickly, guess what? You're going to get wounded. And now you're going to run. So now you're going to retreat. You're going to create this cycle, this cosmic, competitive cycle. Now I got to show them that I'm better, that I deserve to be in that room.
Yeah.
It's because you came in unwhole. So I help you get that place of being whole within yourself.
Right. I love that. Okay. And how does building skills like resilience, discipline, or emotional intelligence actually protect someone's mental health?
Oh, that is the best way to say that is to build those. When you build those skills, you come down to this level. What's resilience? That means I failed, I got up, and I did it again.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to admit that I failed, I can't build resilience. So this hustle culture comes back, and now I keep hustling, trying to prove versus me just going through and learning the lesson. If I don't understand defensive posture versus being defensive, a defensive posture is looking at what I have and stewarding it well. Being defensive is if you say, Nation, you didn't do that well. Oh, don't tell me what I didn't do well. I know. You see the difference? So when I develop a resilience, it means I'm learning from my mistakes. If I'm not learning from my mistakes, there's no resilience being built. There's just hustle.
And me, it's one skill I've learned. It's resilience.
Yes.
You know?
We all need it, but some people call it grit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think about grit. You think about that opportunity where, all right, I got to keep pushing and I'm hurting.
Yeah.
That's only level 1 of grit. Grit is 3 levels deep. You know what the next phase of grit is?
What?
The next phase of grit is, okay, when I push through, what state was I in? You can see that third phase of grit is when, if I got to push any further, who can I bring along with me?
That part.
You think about a team, think about a football team, think about a basketball team. All right, I'm out there playing sick. But if I don't have my team with me, I can score a few points, but we won't win no championships. So that next level of grit is that team. Who's with me that can help me pushing through, and who can I be honest with to say, you know what, I'm hurting. I'm playing sick. I'm not at my best. I just need y'all to block me so I can get to this next yard and I can get out the game. So can y'all help me? That's grit. It's 3 levels deep. But we don't talk about the first level, just pushing through.
Right.
But if you keep pushing through, what happens? You burn out. When you burn out, you die.
Yeah.
So you need the next 2 levels.
And I think a lot of people are operating in that first level.
That's first level.
As opposed to, I feel like once you get to that third level and you're thinking about legacy, you're not even just talking about yourself in this lifetime. You're talking about lifetimes after your kids and their kids and beyond. So it's really important. And that resilience, like I said, is just, it's imperative for sure.
You got to have resilience, because if you don't learn, all you're going to do is burn.
Yep.
You just keep burning the time, burning opportunities.
And I think the initiation of that is calling a thing.
Yes.
And if you're neglecting that, that's what I'm all about. I call it the IDS, identifying it first.
Yes.
That's the first step. And a lot of people don't even get to that much because they're not open and willing to even not critique themselves, but do some, like you said, that meditation, that reflecting, introspection to even get to that point. So that's major that you're talking about. So can you walk us through a simple tool or exercise people listening right now can try for themselves?
Okay, this is called the mirror. This is the mirror exercise. This is one of my favorite exercises to do, and most people fail at it. It's the simplest thing. Walk into the mirror in your bathroom, first thing in the morning, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you, for 1 minute. Just say, I love you. Say your name. By the time you get to within 10 seconds, you're going to feel weird, you're going to stop. Most people cannot get through 1 minute of saying, I love you.
Really?
Because they don't even know themselves enough. They feel weird. But the whole point of that mirror exercise is getting you in touch with you. Because there's a little boy and a little girl inside of you that's saying, I'm neglected. You're doing all this stuff for everybody else, but you're not taking care of me. You don't even tell me that you love me. You don't even treat me like you love me. You do and you do and you do and you do, and I'm feeling empty. So that mirror exercise is the greatest exercise to get you in touch with yourself. And you know what it does too? It grounds you and it humbles you. Because you realize that you're just a person. So that's the greatest one anybody can start. And if you get through the minute, kudos. I've not had one person in 20 years of doing this got through it 1 minute the first time they did it.
Wow.
Of just standing in the mirror and just constantly saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. For 1 minute straight, put a timer on. Most people can't do it.
Yeah. And would you say that builds more of like self-love, confidence?
Actually, what it builds is, it builds identity of the force and the source, which is letting you know that it's not me that you're talking to. When you say, I love you, look in the mirror, you're listening to that spirit man. You're building that spiritual person of you. And that's what's taking place. That's why it's difficult to do. Because if you're talking about, you can say, you look at yourself, girl, I look good, boy, I look good. That's easy.
Yeah.
But when you're looking in that mirror, eye to eye, and telling yourself, I love you, you're actually hearing God from within you speak out. And God is saying, I love you. And you get uncomfortable by the time you get within 5 seconds because you're actually hearing him tell you, I love you, which most people haven't had.
Right.
Because they haven't sat with themselves long enough to hear that.
Yeah.
So it's that spiritual man is being built when you do that.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I've told myself. I tell my son all the time, I love you, I love you. Once I say that I love myself, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So I would say most people probably don't.
Look in the mirror and just for 1 minute, 60 seconds. Mm-hmm. It's the most difficult thing you ever have to do.
Yeah.
I do it every morning.
Okay.
I look in the mirror, brush my teeth, and I tell myself I love me. Aww. Now, I used to be this person who was very considered arrogant, very boastful, very difficult to deal with because I was very confident. Confidence does not make you have love for yourself. Confidence means that I'm okay with myself, but it doesn't mean that I love you or me. It means I'm okay displaying my confidence. Right. True love means I'm looking out for you as well as looking out for me. Because if I'm truly in love with myself, I'm going to truly share that love with everybody else. So people are walking around and not showing you love, it's because they don't really have love for themselves. This is front.
Right. So, and there's a difference between I think vanity type of conceitedness and that, and opposed to confidence and being, like you said, connected to the source of those things. Right. So that's awesome. Okay. What's a story of someone you've worked with where developing their character really shifted their mental health? Okay. Or even yourself? I
would start myself because a lot of my clients I work with is kind of private.
Right.
Yeah, but myself, like I said, I used to be very arrogant, very boastful. And so I had an opportunity one time when I was sitting down and I was talking to a coach. Our coaches have coaches. I was talking to a coach and I was saying, listen, here's what I'm going through. He says, ask yourself this question. What about yourself don't you like? And tell me 3 things about yourself that you do like. I said, well, I don't like this, that I'm being considered arrogant. And that's not my heart. I wasn't this person, but I was coming off that way. So then I started listening to things that I do like. And then when I looked at things that I do like, I said, you know what? I'm confident. He says, great. I said, I love people. He says, but do people know you love them? And I had to stop. And I said, you know what? They don't, because I don't tell them. I do things, but I never told that person that I care about them. And hey, I love you. What can I do to help you? Then the third thing I told myself when I was sitting there, I found out what I liked about myself. I said, you know what? That I'm resilient. He says, okay, you don't like that you're coming off as arrogant. He says, but you love yourself, you love people, and you're resilient. He says, now focus on that. And whenever that arrogance come up, you meet that lie with the truth. And that truth was that I'm resilient, that I love people, and that I'm confident. So whenever I walk into a space, I like doing this this would be something I would have never done. Really? Because I had a hard time being in front of a camera. I had a hard time speaking in front of people. Now, I've been speaking for a long time, but it was always difficult. And so I would just tense up. But once I started to understand what's the lie, and then give me 3 truths to counteract that lie. So I would write them down. I would say, okay, here's the lie. I'm arrogant. I wasn't arrogant, but I was coming off as arrogant. That's the feedback. I'm arrogant. So what's the truth? So whenever I feel like I gotta say something to prove myself, that's how arrogance is, trying to prove yourself, then I say, wait a minute, I love people. So if I'm gonna love you, then I have to be confident enough to be okay with you telling me something about me that I don't like.
Exactly. Woo.
So that's
constructive criticism is hard for people to hear sometimes.
And that's what I had to do. And as I went through that process, it changed the way I looked at the world. Yeah. So everyone that knows me now, like, if you asked me 20 years ago, like, Nahchon was arrogant, he was conceited, he was this, he was a good guy, but he was this guy. No one would say that about me now. Yeah. Because of this work that I've been doing to make sure that I understand that it's not about me, it's about us.
Right, exactly. And I think you touched on it earlier when you were talking about imposter syndrome.
Right.
It's critical to have that skill when you're facing imposter syndrome.
Yes.
It's like, how are you going to get over it? Exactly. This is a tool right here.
Yeah. How are you going to get over it?
Exactly.
Write down the lie and write down 3 truths.
3 truths to combat that.
To combat the lie. It actually takes 7, but just for people
let's start with 3, look, and then we'll get to 7. Right. If you need 7, hey, write them down.
It normally takes, because you think about it, anytime you get a negative statement to yourself, it takes 5 things to cancel it, 7 things to rewrite it. From any negative statement, from childhood to today, somebody says something about you, you have to hear it 5 to 7 times to say that I don't believe that negative statement anymore.
Wow.
But how many times do you talk to yourself negatively? So think about how many times you tell yourself in the mirror, I love you.
Right.
To even start the reversal of that. So.
Right. And we want to talk about the difficulties of like rewriting the narrative that's in your mind, or that's sometimes people can project that onto you.
Yes.
Whether you're doing it or someone else is doing it, sometimes it's difficult to rewrite that. So like, what is like the beginning steps or stages is like, hey, I want to change XYZ about myself. What do I do? How do I get started?
Awareness. First thing and foremost. Awareness, acceptance. Active. First, you got to be aware. This is basically it's the AAA. First, you got to be aware. Then you have to accept it. Then you have to act on it. So, when am I aware of my environment? I'm in an environment where I'm being drained. I'm in an environment where everybody's talking about all these negative things. I have a choice. Do I accept that environment? And if I accept that environment, then I got to accept what's coming with that environment. That I'm going to be drained. And if I want to change that environment, I have to be aware. Then I have to accept. I have to take action. You know what, people? I'm sorry, I cannot be with you. It's nothing against you. You're great folks, but I have to go to another environment. I got to get in another room. It's okay cutting people off. That's causing you to lose you. It's all right.
Right.
So
I say
awareness, acceptance, action.
AAA.
Yep.
I say if someone is stagnating your growth, they're an enemy to your future self.
Yeah.
So,
and to themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it could come back and shoot them in the foot too. So, all right. So let's move on to segment 3. You know, I'm doing an event on 10/10 for World Mental Health Day.
Right.
It's an event. Can you share a little bit about the workshops that you'll be leading at the event?
I'm going to talk about respect in relationships. Now, people think about respect in relationships. They think about, well, what's that? Not relationships with others, relationship with you. Do you respect yourself to have a relationship with yourself? Do you take the best care of yourself? Oh, yeah, I pamper myself. I get my... No, I'm not talking about that. Are you sitting still with yourself? Are you asking yourself those difficult questions and okay when somebody challenges you for who you say you are? And they call it. So that's what I would do on respect in relationships, R&D.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I can't wait. Okay, and how will your workshop help people not just, talk about mental health, but actually build practices that support it?
Well, the one thing I do in a workshop is very interactive. I'm not going to sit there and just talk to you because you're not learning. I'm going to ask you questions, have you engaged, and have you engaged with each other. So one of the top questions I would ask you is, when was the last time you sat in the mirror and told yourself, I love you? And how long could you do it for? Then I'm going to say, you know what? Let's start today. Take out your phone, put the camera on. It's like a mirror. Let's do it for 10 seconds. Let's see what happens. What do you feel? Because I want you to be engaged, because the more you're engaged with the actual activity, the more the activity becomes a part of you. So when you leave the workshop, you're not leaving with information, you're leaving with transformation opportunity.
Absolutely. That's going to be wonderful. Okay, and why do you think character development should be considered part of the mental health conversation?
Okay, so we think about a character. Let's look at a movie. Somebody wrote a script, and they developed this character, and they have to act this character out. So this character acts this way. So when you say that you are this person, you have a character script. And if you're saying that I'm true to this character, then this is the things that you should do and these things that you shouldn't do. When you get off script, you change your character. So your character is fluid. It actually changes moment by moment because your narrative is fluid. But if you want to build a true character of like, I want to be a person of love, of loyalty, of community, if an opportunity comes and it's contrary to those things, how will my character respond? If I want to be a person of love, community, and loyalty, how do I act? So character is a part of how you build resilience and also how you build a strong mental health. See, mental health is not about, it's a mental state. It's not just about, if you think about mental health, you think about, okay, you got schizophrenia, you got bipolar, you have all these other mental issues. Mental health is a daily practice of how do you take care of your mental state. That's what mental health is all about.
Yeah.
So what are you doing daily to take care of your mental state?
Yeah.
So you're in that state of being mentally.
And can you talk about the connection that your mental state has with your emotional state? And do you do anything that supports like the emotional part or aspect of it?
That's funny that you said that, Chrissy. I went to a psychologist and I did an empathy test. And when I took this test, my empathy score on a scale of 100 was a 2.
Wow.
Remember I told you I had this issue.
Yeah.
So I had no empathy.
Really?
It was almost non-existent. And because psychologist says it's not because you don't care about people, because your sympathy score was like 98. So I cared about people, but I had no empathy, meaning I couldn't see myself in your shoes. So I had to go through this whole process myself of learning how do I connect my emotions with how I show up. And I'm in that process even now. I'm going through understanding that emotionally, if I don't understand my emotional state, I'm going to show up janky. I'm going to show up out of order. So think about emotions like seasonings. You ever had a meal that looked pretty, everything looked great, and you tasted it was bland? That meal had no emotions, because seasoning is what gives you is what gives a meal its flavor. Emotions is what gives life its flavor, but also how you learn. Because if you can't connect an emotion to an event, you can't connect a memory to that event, so you can't learn from that event. And that's what was happening to me, because I had no emotional connection. I was just going through emotions. So yeah.
I love that. That's amazing. Okay, and how do people that want to stay in connection with you, how do they stay connected? How can they find you? What do you have going on? Can you tell them a little bit?
If you want to connect with me, you want to go to www.themlbcoach.com. That's my website, www.themlbcoach.com. You can find me on Instagram. My name is hard to spell, but it's Nahchon. If you type in Nahchon Developer, Nahchon, the developer, Guyton, you find me on Instagram. But go to my website and you can connect on everything I have there. The MLB Coach.
All right, well, thank you so much for
coming on. Thank you.